It is now 5:34, and it's time for the legal landscape. The goal of owning a home, land, or some type of real estate is something that most persons aspire to in our Jamaican context. However, as we can imagine, owning real estate comes at a high cost, and some sort of financial assistance is usually needed by potential homeowners to realize this dream. A mortgage is a very useful tool that persons may utilize to help with the purchase or development of real estate. However, mortgages carry an inherent risk that all property owners should consider before signing on the dotted line. Today we will be discussing that risk contained in power of sale clauses that are typically found in every mortgage agreement from financial institutions in Jamaica. And to explain this risk, we are joined by Kymberly Hanniford, an associate at DunnCox Attorneys-at-Law. Thanks for joining us, Kymberly.
Good afternoon, Dion, and good afternoon to your listeners. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure to get all the information. Thank you so much. And to get us started, what is a mortgage, Kymberly?
Well, Dion, in simple terms, a mortgage is an agreement for a bank to lend money to a property owner secured by the owner's property. So it is a written document that contains obligations to repay the money loaned, usually on a monthly basis, and it has other requirements for the property owner to perform during the life of the loan. And since this document is a contract, there are legal consequences that may follow if the property owner defaults.
Okay, so what does it mean to default on a mortgage agreement?
Well, in essence, defaulting means failing to do what the mortgage contract says you are required to do. So let's say Susan and Tom take out a mortgage from NCB to build on some property. For example, the mortgage is for $200 million to build a big, luxurious property. They could default on the agreement in a number of ways. So one, they could fail to pay back the monthly payments in the agreed terms of the mortgage, or they could use the property in a manner contrary to the terms of the mortgage. So say it was a residential property and they turn it into a nightclub. Either of these may be considered a default on a mortgage, and they can lead to the bank exercising its power of sale.
So what does it mean to exercise power of sale?
So what it is that the law gives all banks the power to sell your property if you default on your mortgage. The bank can take certain steps to sell the property by a public auction or in a private sale, which the property owner will be unable to avoid.
Okay, then. So tell us about these steps the bank must take to exercise its power of sale.
Okay, so one of the first steps that the bank has to take when exercising this power of sale is to issue a notice to the property owner, advising them of the default and telling them to remedy the default. However, the bank cannot issue the notice immediately. It has to wait at least 1 month or whatever timeline was agreed in the mortgage after the default has occurred before sending the notice. A few things to note. The notice can be personally served on the property owner, left at the property, or sent by registered post. If the property owner does not cure the default in 30 days after receiving the notice, the bank can then advertise the property, list it for sale by public auction. I'm sure many of your listeners would have seen advertisements in the Observer or the Gleaner that are placed by these popular real estate companies. And if this property is not sold by the public auction, the bank can obtain a valuation and sell it by private sale. So in summary, the steps are really to serve the notice, and if the default isn't remedied, they can go ahead and advertise it in the newspaper and in some instances obtain a valuation, and your property may be sold.
So this happens, or what happens if the mortgagee does not follow the required steps?
Well, if the bank doesn't provide the notice that we've just talked about, it has broken the law. If it fails to properly advertise the property or it fails to obtain a valuation, the bank runs the risk of not obtaining the best price that the property could attract at a public auction or even in a private sale. You see, the bank's duty is to get the best price reasonably obtainable when exercising the power of sale. So the property owner is given some surplus when the bank has cleared its loan. If the bank fails to follow these required steps, it may reduce or remove the surplus for the property owner. And those failures by the bank also show that it has not acted in good faith. And this gives rise to the property owner suing the bank for any value in the property that was lost as a result of those breaches.
Kymberly Hanniford is an associate at DunnCox Attorneys-at-Law, and we're looking at the power of sale of the mortgage. Very informative. Thank you so very much. Do you have any tidbits that you can share with us?
Yes, Dion. Did you know that if you own a property that's worth $40 million, the bank can sell your property even if you owe only 2,000 Jamaican dollars?
You mean if we owe 40 million Jamaican? If we own a property in the value of 40 million Jamaican dollars, you see me even get tongue-tied.
Yes.
And we have 2,000 Jamaican dollars left on it.
And you fail to pay this?
They can take the property.
Yes.
Thank you very much for letting us know. We always look forward to hearing the information in the legal landscape, and you have not failed to deliver, Kymberly Hanniford. Thank you. Oh, boy. We look forward to you joining us as well next week. You've certainly given some people bits to chomp at and take them through. And if we need further legal advice, we contact you on your number, 876-922-1500. Or visit the website, www.DunnCox.com, for more information. Thanks once again to Kymberly Hanniford, Associate at DunnCox Attorneys-at-Law, for today's Legal Landscape, Season 6 and Episode 3. Have a great evening, Kymberly. Wow. Wow, you have a great evening too. You know how many people are going to... Darling, did you pay? Have you looked? Check the date. Oh, this is The Edge, 105.1, 105.3 FM. Every Wednesday at this time, it is the Legal Landscape.